marinade, kind of the same principle kind of applies. We're going to change up the flavors just a little bit. So we're going to add some shallots. And because we're making it a marinade, we're just going to use the natural oils from the flavor ingredients that we're using. So there's not really any cooking. If you wanted to, you could sweat off these shallots and garlic just so that they're not raw in your marinade. But we're going to add some extra flavors to it, and we'll cook it down later as a sauce for the plate. Okay? So a few things you need in your flavoring for marinade is you need an acid to break down the proteins, you need an oil in there for body, and you need what your main flavoring is going to be. So we have shallots and garlic. We're going to add some maple syrup this time, just to kind of change up. Using local ingredients, we're just going to change it up a little bit as far as the flavor, because we have the honey and the stout. We're going to use the maple in the marinade for the steak. Stir that around. Instead of using a vinegar, whereas a white wine or red wine vinegar might be too strong, we're going to use a little bit of fresh fruitiness. So we're going to use a little bit of lemon. We have some lemon juice here that we could use. And if you just had a half a lemon in there, you could measure it out a little bit, but that's going to add our acidity to our marinade. And we're going to add a little bit of oil, okay, just to counterbalance that out a little bit. And then we're going to add our island red. Okay, now when you do a marinade, what you want to do is you want to make sure that the steak has at least a couple hours to marinate. So you do this early in the day, and then when you're ready to go to the barbecue a little bit later, you take it out and you kind of do them all in the barbecue as is. We're going to also add a little bit of salt and pepper to this, because we're not reducing or cooking it down. We want to add flavor, right? So a little bit of salt and pepper. We'll give it a quick little stir. And you want to check the flavor of it just to make sure that you've got a nice balance of everything, because you don't want it too acidic, but you don't want it, and you want that flavor of the beer to come through, but you want to make sure that it good balance. Okay, so what we're going to do is our glaze for our wings is just starting to come up to boil, so that needs to reduce a little bit. So we're going to take our marinade and we're going to take our nice strip loin steaks, and we're just going to lay them in a pan. Okay, just place them in a pan so they're flat, and then we're going to pour the marinade on them. We're going to let those sit in the marinade for a couple hours, and then we'll pan sear them, probably in a cast iron pan or on a char broiler if you have a char broiler at home, and we'll do them up. Then we take your marinade and we just kind of pour it over the steaks. Now what's good about this is later on, after this marinates, we're going to take this and we're going to make a quick sauce out of it for serving on the steaks. Okay? So we're just going to set that aside for now and marinate. Doesn't have to go in the refrigerator. Can kind of sit out on the counter for a couple of minutes, for a couple hours, so that the steaks get to relax. They absorb all that nice flavor. If you're going to do it overnight, then you could slow down the process and you could put it in the refrigerator overnight, and the steaks will just take a little bit longer to absorb more flavor. Okay, so we're going to let our sauce reduce down. Our steaks are marinating. Come right back. I'm going to show you the simplest beer batter for fish in the world. Don't go away.